I'm just going to quote from a 2023 parliamentary panel report which said that the committee infers from data provided by the Lokpal that a large number of complaints are being disposed of on the ground that they are not in the prescribed format. Lokpal has submitted to the committee that it has not prosecuted even a single person accused of graft till date. The question that then arises, and you can come in on this, Jayanant Dehadrai, is that if the performance is below par, as the parliamentary committee has observed, this is not my observation, should it be awarded with this kind of luxury?
No, Madhav, there are a lot of ad hominem allegations that this gentleman made, but less said the better about the bureaucracy and the sinking levels of corruption that they find themselves embroiled in. So I'll reserve my remarks on that. He said something about lawyers charging a lot of fees. Yes, we do charge a lot of fees, except we declare it, we pay income tax on it, and we don't hide it under our beds like some members of his fraternity do. So let's keep that aside, right? Let's keep that aside. But am I audible, Madhav?
Yes, please go ahead.
Hear me? But having said that, that's not really the issue. What I had said earlier is that if you pay peanuts, you will get monkeys. Now, if you want former judges of the Supreme Court to come and occupy positions in the Lokpal, outside in the real world, if they do arbitrations or if they undertake private practice, they will make enormous sums of money, legitimate sums of money in their legal practice. Now, you want to attract that same talent. You want them to come in and serve as Lokpal. Of course, you will give them some of the perks that they're entitled to constitutionally, as they are on par, as you rightly pointed out, Madhav, they are on par with judges of the Supreme Court. But let's keep all of that aside also, and let's come to that statistic that you quoted from the Parliamentary Standing Committee. Now, you said something very, very right. You said a lot of these complaints tend to get rejected because they are not in the correct format. It is Parliament, Madhav, that has statutorily, created that template or that format in which these complaints have to be submitted. Now, have we forgotten for a moment that multiple Supreme Court judgments were required because police officers like this person on your show refused to register FIRs or demand money to register FIRs, and therefore we've needed a barrage of judgments from the Supreme Court itself to say that you please follow your CRPC or criminal code and start registering complaints.
Okay, quick response from Mr. Azad, then I'll go across to other panelists. All right, Mr. Azad, you made your point, Jay. I want Mr. Azad to respond to that, and then I'll go across to others.
Well, thank God, Madhav, I couldn't hear anything. What I presume he's a lawyer who said something. But let me tell you a few very blunt things. What a ridiculous argument there is to support that the 7 BMWs should be bought by A. Despite all his acumen, legal acumen, I mean, this is ridiculous. And that is what happens when suited, booted lawyers today, speaking good English, try to justify something as idiotic as that. Something which is a load on the public, something which is a load on the democracy. And here is this gentleman supporting the BMW purchase and talking about police officers.
Okay.
A corrupt legal system where lawyers are to be blamed thoroughly for it.
Okay, I don't want to make this a personal debate. Gentlemen, please, let's not... we have very limited time. Please allow me to conduct this debate now. I want to bring in Anurag Naidu. And Anurag Naidu, this is what the national spokesperson of the Congress party, Dr. Shama Mohammed, has said. She says this is the same institution that was supposed to fight corruption after the so-called India Against Corruption movement, also called it a quote-unquote movement backed by the RSS designed only to bring down the Congress government. How do you react to this?
Madhav, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. Madhav, look, Madhav, my personal view here is, and I'm not defending the government, Madhav. I don't care whether it is a BMW, I don't care whether it is a Mercedes or Maybach or a limousine, as long as there is no corruption, as long as there is no malfunctioning, as long as there is no, any wrongdoing which sets in a different direction. I'm okay giving any good constitutional body, any good, like Madhav, we are, in a corporate
wrongdoing
world.
Will happen if you do first. If there is not a single prosecution, then what do you call that?
Madhav, I'm coming to that. If the purchase of the car, vehicle, or any, taking any perks, if it is enshrined in the constitution of that own body, if it is enshrined within the rule book, within the framework, there is a tender floated. Madhav, the collectors, the DM, which is supposed to be the next go government of any district, in Telangana, they have 2 cars, they have a Fortuner, they have Carnivals. In other states, they have other perks. There's the position.
Ashwini Mishra, quick response. This is not the first state from Jammu Kashmir to Telangana, whether talking talking about the ministers, whether you're talking about bureaucrats, or you're talking about even judges, in some cases, there are luxury vehicles that are provided. So this is not a precedent in that sense. Your response to this, Ashwini Kumar Mishra?
Madhav, this whole Lokpal narrative, or rather I should call it conspiracy, was planned in 2013 to dismantle the Congress government. It is useless. It is more like a white elephant which has not delivered any results. So I don't see why we are discussing what luxury car should be given. This is something which should not exist on the first place. This
So why
was
are Congress
just a conspiracy to dismantle the current government that point of time, which RSS and BJP.
So why are Congress spokespersons objecting to it then? From Shama Mohammed to a whole host of leaders of the Congress party have put out on social media posts objecting.
Why we are spending money on something which is not working. That institution itself is a failure. Has they convicted anyone? No. Has they done anything in last 12 years? No. Why that institution existed in the first place is the question. Why we bothered about giving them luxury cars and all, and rather than looking at what their delivery is?
All right. We'll have to leave it there, gentlemen. Completely out of time. Jayant Dehadre, Anurag Naidu, Yashwardhan Azad, as well as Ashwini Kumar Mishra. Certainly, this is a subject that is going to be discussed in the political discourse for the next several days. Several questions that arise out of this. We'll have to see, of course, what finally transpires. Thanks so much for joining us this evening.